With so much to do during the winter Nexus, the safest way a solo player can make ISK is one of our favorites, ice mining. Now we've got the fit, the tips, the tricks, and some presents for you to make sure that you can enjoy the winter Nexus in style. So if you want the best EVE Online guides, you came to the right place. Ladies and gentlemen, Loru here, digital advertiser, content creator, and EVE enjoyer for the better part of 10 years now, and the Endurance is one of my absolute favorite ships. It looks fantastic, it's super fun to play, and it can do a lot if you fit it correctly. Now, why the Endurance over other ships for this event specifically? First of all, there's always a question between Endurance or Prospect. Now, the Endurance is the ice mining ship. Prospect does not get ice bonuses, and the Endurance does. You will get stacking bonuses for your mining frigate skill, as well as your expedition frigate skill. And then you get a roll bonus, just flat reduction in how long your ice harvesting goes. All this means, when we fit it out with our single turret here, that one cycle without clones is going to be 52 seconds for one block ice. The kicker with the Winter Nexus event is you also have to be fast. You have to be able to go deliver the ice you get on belt to an NPC to get your loot. More on that later. With all that said, let's dive into the fit. Starting off the highs, you are going to run a single ice mining laser tech 2. Now you can use the big ice mining laser if you're going into high sec. I do recommend that you be careful with this, because the ore ice mining laser, while way better than the ice mining laser 2, is worth a solid 124 million ISK right now. The entire fit here is 50 million ISK. So if you're really going to risk flying such a big blinged out module, I recommend you do it in corpse space, a place where you can almost guarantee that you can either get out safe or have some backup. Now we do run a single improved cloaking device too. This is mainly just to make sure that if we need to bug out, we can. You don't have to run this if you're going into high sec. If you take the ship into low sec or null sec, and you can, you have a nice safe perch you can hang out on just in case. Now the mids and the rigs are going to all augment your tank. We have some shield extenders and shield hardeners, all about getting your effective HP up. A single extender in the mids raises your HP, 2 shield hardeners raise your resists, and then the core field defense extender is going to work in tandem with the shield extender to raise up that maximum base HP. All this together is going to give you just shy of 13k effective HP and just under 15k with these overheated. Now this tank is overkill. The rats are not going to be able to kill you with this, especially in high sec. We give you this much because you can only run a single drone with this fit. You won't be able to kill the rats as fast. More on that later. Suffice it to say, those cheese getting rats are not a problem. We do have a single micro warp drive here. When you activate it, you're going to go just under 3k ms, and really try to fit a micro warp drive if you can. Just minimize the time you're going to and from the ice belt. We're going to show you why that's so important in just a sec. Now for the lows, we're going to be running 2 ice harvester upgrade 2s. These increase your yield and are basically mandatory to have on there. We're not running a damage control or anything like that because we're going to be running a warp core stab. Now having this on does reduce your drone bandwidth by half, meaning you can only use 1 drone at a time. But I got a little workaround for you. If you're on the belt and you're feeling nice and safe, you can always turn off the warp core stab, getting your drone bandwidth back up. Now in order to turn it back on, it's going to take a crap ton of capacitor. So do this at your peril, but just in case there's a bunch of rats and you want to take them out, you could turn off the stab that way. And while the rats are annoying, they're not your real enemy. That's why we have the warp core stab here. It's the gankers coming in to take you out. Remember, when you're using this sucker, it only lasts for 15 seconds, and then the next time you can use it after activation is 150 seconds away. Don't fat finger this. We got some other anti-gank tips coming later in the video. For our rigs, we're gonna have a single small processor overclocking unit. This increases your CPU. This isn't so CPU tight, but if you're noticing that you can't fly exactly these modules, try to get the compact version of the multi-spectrum shield hardener instead of the Tech 2 and go from there. You want to have as much cargo space as you can to get the loot from the NPC vendor. And then finally, we have the drones. Now, if you're running 1 drone with this thing on, you're only going to do 19 DPS. Not a lot of DPS, but if you turn off the warp core stab and you start running 3, that goes up to 55 DPS. This should be enough to take out any of the rats that are trying to mess with you, especially in high sec. Now, the Hornet EC300 drones, you're only going to be able to use 1 if the gankers are coming at you. And this is one of the main ways that you're going to get away from those gankers. Now, before we show you some in-space examples, we got some presents for you. And many of you know that we are EVE partners. That means the CCP devs give me skins to give to you. And during the holiday season, we like to get extra generous. We're going to be giving away 3 scope syndication skins to some lucky winners. Each one of those scope syndication skins is worth hundreds of millions of ISK. In addition to those scope syndication skins, we're going to give away this ship, 3 fully fitted Endurances for you. You'll have no excuse to get on the ice belt if you literally get this exact ship. So if you want to open your present, you have to do these 3 things. The first thing is be subscribed to the channel. My bot's going to know if you're not subbed, then you'll be disqualified. Don't miss out on this because you don't want to press press the sub button, y'all. Come on. Next thing you gotta do is put I want presents in the comments. In that same comment, you're gonna put your in-game name. You do those 3 things, and you'll be entered to win this giveaway. We announced the winners in the community tab of our YouTube page a couple days after, so come on back, check it out, and see if you've won. And y'all, we're very close to 10,000 YouTube subs as of the recording of this video. We're really trying to push to get that by the end of the year. When we hit 10,000 YouTube subs, we are going to have a blowout live stream celebration, the likes of which the EVE Online directory has never seen before. So get me to 10K, and I promise you, you'll enjoy what's on the other side, okay? Okay. Now let's go find some ice, shall we? All right, y'all, how the heck do you find these ice belt things? Now, the Winter Nexus sites only appear where there are meta-liminal storms. You can see them as these bubbles here, orange, blue, red, whatever. You can see these, but go into the gear in the top left-hand side of your map. Press this gear, you go to Geography and Statistics. You scroll all the way down to meta-liminal storms. Now these will appear. During the Winter Nexus, they're all over the place. From there, you can right-click, press Set Destination. You can see the route was updated there. You can also see this by going to your agency, going to Resource Harvesting, Ice Belts, and then from there, you're going to be able to see these fading volatile ice fields. They'll have various names, but if you see an unknown ice belt, that's probably not a Winter Nexus event. If you see a named one like this, it's probably a Winter Nexus event. You can compare this to the map and be sure you're going to the right place. So let's go get some ice, shall we? All right, we're in space, y'all. We're trying to find an ice site, and there's a couple things you got to get with your UI to make sure you know what the hell you're doing. First things, you have to have your D scan. That's this right here. You just saw the ping. This is your directional scanner. And if you're not using this thing, you're essentially playing EVE Online blindfolded. The directional scanner is going to be how you find and get all the information you need to stay afloat. All right, so we found an ice field. Let's warp to that sucker. We found the ice fields by this window here. This is your probe scanner. If you need to get to these guys, there's a little dial right about here. Press scanners. There's your directional scanner. Press scanners again, and then go to probe scanner. Now, it's important to understand before you warp into this ice site that only mining ships can actually get into this area. This is going to minimize the kind of ships that the gankers can take to come get you. You can see here we have a Retriever Endurance Hulk. Bunch of bros out here mining stuff. All right, let's pick a rock and get to it, shall we? We're going to use our micro warp drive to close the distance. The optimal range of the mining laser is 8K. I'm going to set my default orbit to about 6 and get to orbiting the sucker. Turn off your micro warp drive so we don't overshoot this bad boy. And then once you're in range, let's get to mining. You want to do a couple things to make sure that you're doing this effectively. First thing you want to do is you want to kind of look down here to your shield. It's kind of hard to see against the white background, but see how I'm about halfway through my shield and now I activate the second one? If you have both shields activated at the same time, it's going to put some strain on your capacitor, make it a little bit harder for you to manage all this. So you want to stagger your shields so that when one's at half, the other one's starting. Next thing you want to do is make sure that you're claiming your Winter Nexus rewards. There's a reward track where you can get a bunch of items doing this. This is one of the best parts of the Winter Nexus. No matter how you play, you can get this going. The next thing you want to do is you want to open up your inventory and press and hold Shift and left click your mining hold. This is going to open up your mining hold in its own window so you can see exactly what's inside of your hold. You can see a piece of ice there. We're going to enable compact mode and enable light backgrounds. I like to be able to see through stuff. And we're just going to put this guy right here just so I can see it. And really the best way to probably put it is right by your D-scan because that's the thing you're going to be looking at the most. The next thing you have to do is you have to be furiously clicking that D-scan. And we see there's a hawk, but that's because we have this set to 14 AU. We're going to set this to 5 AU. That way we can see whatever's on top of the acceleration gate. We obviously know what ships are right here because we can see them on grid with us. Now, some things to watch out for gankers. Now, here's some commonly used ganking ships that'll come get you on the mining sites. A bunch of Ventures can be outfit with gank mods and come take you out. You might see a Procurer. It's a bit on the expensive side, but you can get outfit with gank mods and hold people down. The Procurer is the tankiest of all the mining barges. I doubt you're going to see an Exhumer try to come gank you, but hey, who knows, man. The rest of this stuff I doubt's going to come get you. Basically, if you see a bunch of Ventures, maybe take a second and be careful and decide if you're going to leave or not. When I say a bunch, I mean more than 5. Now, we're going to be spinning around this ice rock for some time. Let's talk about this ice for just a sec. Now, this ice is not sellable on the market. What you can do with these is turn them in to this ore faded volatile ice processor. You can see it's an orca at the front of this ice belt site. It's right by this really awesome like Sanja thing. I want to look at that for just a sec. There's a bar guest here with a bunch of other stuff from that faction too that's super interesting. You can see me mining in the background there. Once we have 7 ice, we're going to come to this thing and interact with it. You can right click it and press access. Final thing you're going to do while you're waiting for all your stuff to go is you're going to have local open here and you're going to be looking for any of the known ganking corps. This is stuff like Code, Black Flag, Safety. Go search those corporations and mark them as red using your search bar here. That way if any of those guys hop into local, you'll be able to see. Now that's not a surefire way to avoid them. A lot of these ganking dudes have alts that aren't in corp to go scout for them, but at the very least you'll be able to see if there's a local spike with a bunch of reds. Another trick quick, you can left click the names in local and press Control A or Command A on Mac. And now it's going to highlight everybody in local that's there currently. If someone new comes in, it's going to have their name unhighlighted. Typically what I'll do is I'll have local right here. I'll have my ice right here so I can see how full stuff is. I have my D-scan right here as well, and my PvP tab of my overview. That way my eyes are looking in the same spot no matter what the heck's going on. Now here's a really good point actually. And I'm not trying to mess with this pilot, but I'm going to talk about him for just a sec. You can see this Mackinac just warped on, but he is going slow, y'all. He's only going about 153 ms. Without an afterburner on or nothing, we go 516. While this Mackinac may be awesome at mining the ice itself, it doesn't fit the overarching theme of this event, which is marrying speed of mining with speed of ship. All right, we got a bunch of ice. We're going to quickly use our MWD to head back to the Orca. You're going to press and hold E and left click it to keep it at range. Once you're close enough, you're going to turn off that MWD so you don't bounce the heck off of this thing. Keep it range will make sure you have a nice leash so you can interact with it. Once we're back within range, we're going to access this sucker. You can see we can trade in 7 volatile ice, and we get a ore green salvage package. Let's left click this guy, see what kind of loot we get, shall we? Ooh, exciting. 3 things out here. Very nice. All right, some salvage and a 7th tier overseer. Hey, what's up, my mining friend? How you doing? So that one thing we got about 1 million ISK out of. Now again, there's going to be better, bigger rewards in low sec, null sec. So when you're doing this, make sure you plan accordingly. And y'all, we've got a ton of winter Nexus guides that are coming out. We have guides on every single winter Nexus activity there is, with more fits, more ships coming. The playlist for that is right here. Make sure you bookmark that and come back in the coming days. You can see all the good stuff that we've got cooking. Y'all, we are also streaming Vanguard this week. You can RSVP to that with a single click right here. Thanks again for getting us close to 10K. Let's pass it, and we'll see you in a future video.